Good morning, everyone. It's Saturday morning. It's 10 o'clock, and I'm Connie Myers. So this must be to 70 and beyond. I want to welcome you to my haunted backyard. Here, I'll duck my head so you can see. I've got ghosts and goblins and all kinds of stuff going on, thanks to my dear friend Julie, who put this all together for me. If you're in Las Vegas and you want your home or your garden decorated, reach out to me because I know the perfect person for you. Um, I was thinking this morning about what I was going to talk about. And with everything that is so negative, the politics, the coronavirus, the just everything about our most of us, some of us, our businesses, the people around us. Um, People are anxious. They're getting angry. The civil unrest. What can we do to overcome all of that? And last week I received my new little book by my dear friend Cheryl Knowlton. It's called I'm Only Half Crazy. And look at this cute little book. Isn't that cute? On the back, it's her, and it says, I'll see you at the finish line. I've known Cheryl for I think 10, 11 years, something like that. And we go to the same conference every year in Arizona. And I remember when she decided she was going to run her first half marathon. And so I'm going to go through this because in this book is some wonderful life lessons that I think may help us to move into 2021. Um, the reason she started running is because she had two older daughters that ran in the in Provo, Utah, a half marathon, and she was blown away by the energy. Cheryl is very high energy, and she said she loves the energy and she wanted it for herself. So she decided to go ahead and train and run for her first marathon. The first marathon was in, let me see here. I'm sorry if I'm looking down, but I want to make sure I get the information right. Um, I don't see where American Fork Canyon. That's in California. And she talks about she was officially addicted to the energy of the day. So we can either become addicted to the energy that we're feeling right now with the doom and the gloom and the negativity, and then all of a sudden we're watching news continuously and we're depressed, or we can find a way of reaffirming and changing that energy and turning it into something positive. And she has taken a racing and running as a part of that. She talks about the euphoria at the beginning was surreal. I was doing it. By mile 6, the euphoria had worn off. By mile 8, it was officially hard. By mile 10, it was officially painful, and I could smell the Neater's Bakery, one of the race sponsors, and the French toast. It was waiting for them at the end. By mile 12, I started to get emotional. I was almost there. By mile 13, I could see the finish line and not just imagine it. She finishes the race and I did it. I was so proud of myself, I could barely see straight. Okay. I was also exhausted from that my vision was definitely blurred. But the bottom line is if we can find a way to take this negative world that we're in right now and find a way to turn that energy into something positive, turn it into a challenge like she did in racing, um, that will help us to go a long ways into making through all of this. And, just because the election is next week doesn't mean that the politics is going to stop. It's going to continue on. It'll probably continue on all through next year and then the year after that and the year after that. I'm not quite sure what the answer is to that one. But she also has what she calls a truth bomb. She says, I still do not really consider myself to be a real runner. I am not fast, but what I am is consistent. Isn't that an important lesson, especially right now? If you are working from home, which many, many, many of us are, being consistent is really important, and finding some balance in that consistency. How do we balance our children? How do we balance our work? How do we balance our personal life? And really coming up with a way for us to do that and be consistent every day. Like I finally have got my knee back in shape so I can get on a glider. Right now, the beginning of my day starts, excuse the dog, starts by getting on my glider, and it's now becoming a habit. So what can you do? Maybe you're not a reader, but maybe this is the time you should get a Audible account and listen to a book, or pick up a book and just read a couple pages, because that helps your mind relax a little bit. She goes on to say in chapter 1, this is your race. So this is about you. This isn't about anybody else. She says, at mile 5, this was at the American Fork River in June of 2013. It was mile 5 that it hit me. We cannot compare our personal race to anyone else's race. Comparison truly is the thief of joy. So if you're out there, and let's say you're working from home and you're comparing how that is to working at work, well, you're working at home, and that's where you're going to be for a while. You need to find the joy in that, whatever that joy is. And I know sometimes it's difficult if we've got kids and we're trying to help them with schooling and we're trying to do our job and we're trying to keep the house up and cook a meal and all those things that go into that used to be divided up. And now we're trying to handle it all from one space. Her second thought is plan, then plan some more. None of us plan to be locked down this many months, but there are so many people. And I talked about this yesterday in my conversation with Deborah Trapin. There's so much innovation that's happened over these last few months, and there's so much more innovation that is happening. I mean, there are people out there that had a regular job at an office and went to work, and they discovered they loved baking, so now they've opened a bakery. And there's how many people are now doing cooking shows on YouTube. What is something that's in your heart that maybe you never thought you had the opportunity to do, and maybe now is the time to take a look at that? And is that a hobby or is that a career? What might that look like? She says, when I was planning and registering for my race, I bought the right equipment and created a training regimen for myself. I trained with my trainer. I prepared mentally and physically. However, I quickly realized after that first race, much to my chagrin, I was nowhere near ready as I thought I was. I was so sore, I could barely move for 24 hours. So there's a 2-year gap between her first race and her second race where she was planning and getting physically fit and ready for it. I made sure I was doing what I needed to do in order to have my best race. So, and then she goes on to say there were also other races that I procrastinated in my training. On too many days, I cut an 8-mile run in half because I was busy. What is it in our lives that we do shortcuts where we don't think we have the time, when in reality, we can design the time to work for whatever we need to do? So think about what is in your life right now that you can plan and change. We're coming into 2021. What's going to be different? Nothing's going to be different if there isn't planning done. Nothing's going to be different. It's going to be a continuation. They're saying that the coronavirus could go through the middle to the end of next year and beyond. So what are you going to do that's going to make next year a better year for you? She says, whether it's a personal planner or some other tool, find what works for you. I have an amazing planner that I'm going to be using to plan out my 2021. And what I'm finding out is after being at home, because I was one of these people that went. And having been at home, I now realize the importance of sitting and resting. And that's her next point. Rest, release, and disconnect. Her first point is, one of her real life-changing realizations was that I have a greater sense of clarity than I do any other time when she is running. For me, my greatest clarity of time is when I'm in my car driving. I love road trips. I do my best listening. I do my best thinking. I can drive, and long-term drives, not through the city. I mean, we're talking, I've driven across the country and back 14 times. So there's lots of time to think and listen to books and think about what it is you want for your life. So whatever that is for you, whether it's driving or whether it's running or whether it's reading a book or whether it's just plain out meditating, whatever that is, make sure you plan that put it into your day. The second realization was that I had the power to take control of my life and say enough. Many of us have figured out that through this whole thing of being quarantined, that we can say no. It's okay to say no. I made a decision during that race to quit my job. 3 days later, I did. I followed Elsa's admonition in the Disney movie Frozen, and I truly let it go. So when something happens that maybe we don't really understand why it's happening or why we made that decision, and we start having those doubts because those are natural, then let it go. Have an affirmation that this or something better still is going to be looking in front of us. That's what I did that day when I couldn't figure out, after I'd gotten told that didn't know what I was doing, which I'm so grateful for. And I came home and I thought about it, and I was like, okay, what do I need to let go of, and what do I need to do now to make it different? And that's where my 4-course certification, Crisis Knowledge Management, came into being. It started with that simple thought of, okay, what did that life as a FEMA inspector and trainer have to do with anything? And all of a sudden, things started showing up in my life that showed me the direction that I was supposed to go. And I can tell you, with everything that's happened and all the wonderful, exciting news, I can't share. I'm waiting to share it. I'm hoping to share it next week. But there's really exciting stuff happening that I want to share with all of you. The third life-changing realization I had that day was running releases stress and tension from my body. That goes back to, what is it that can help you reduce the stress? First of all, stay off the TV. Don't watch all the negativity that's on there. If you want to know what's going on in the world, watch it for 10 minutes and then turn it off and put music on, or turn it off completely and get a book, or turn it off and do whatever it is you're passionate about doing or your work. But turn it off, because it actually changes the chemistry in your brain and creates more negativity. You want to celebrate successes. So let it go. Let anything go that's going to hold you back. The next, and her point is rest, release, disconnect. And she says, we can release by disconnecting from our phone and technology, stepping away or powering down. You hear more and more people that are doing that now. I did it for about a few days just because I didn't get on Facebook. I still had to be on my phone because I was working, but I at least got off of Facebook for a few days because I was feeling the pressure of having to respond and having to do that. And I never want to get into the point of being on Facebook and thinking, okay, I have to do this, because that's ridiculous. She's taken up meditation, and it used to be that meditation was considered woo-woo-y, but now the science is out that meditation and other mindfulness practices like stopping and breathing actually increase the correct hormones in our body and will improve our collaboration, our resilience, and our ability to handle complex problems and studies. So it's no longer a nice thing to do. It's a must-have, especially if you own your own business or are part of a company that's growing and thriving. So what is it that you're going to do to release? Is it listen to music? Is it read a book? Maybe it's having a conversation with a friend about something positive, not negative. And then number 4, it's, and this particular one was the Haunted Halloween Half. So isn't it appropriate? Today's Halloween Day. This was October 2016. For your race, buy the best pair of shoes you can afford. Invest in yourself. Mile 11 is not the time to celebrate that you saved a few bucks on shoes. So what are the shoes in your life? What is it that that you need to have that good tool to help you be successful? Her advice is buy the best you can possibly afford without going into debt. The technology around running shoes is phenomenal. Knowing you have the right foundation support is essential in running and in life. I love this book show. She says, after my first dozen races, to celebrate my success, I bought myself one great new piece of equipment. So what a great way. So I'm celebrating my new successes and all the things that are happening in my life by sharing with others and giving to others. So what is a tool or something that you can use to celebrate your successes in your life? Don't forget your most important tools, your brain and your body. Invest in educating yourself with a lifetime of learning. Take classes. I am a constant learner. I am always looking for something new to read, somebody new to listen to. Find all of those things in your life that are going to help to expand your brain. And those also help to get rid of the negativity. The 5th chapter, which is the last one I'm going to end on today, is carry everything with you that you need. When it comes to technology, I've joked about myself for years that if a device is not working, I become a PhD. Press here, dummy. But as I get more and more frustrated, PhD turns into press harder, dummy. As a national speaker, I get more nervous about the audio and visual working than I do about my ability to deliver my message. Isn't that true? I'm the same way. I love speaking, but I'm more worried about whether or not the technology is going to work than anything else that what I'm going to say or what I'm going to do. For my public speaking, my coach taught me that I will always get the performance I rehearse for. And boy, is that true in life. How we are rehearsing our life and how we're mentally thinking about what we're going to do with our lives has a total effect on what's really going to happen. I have put in the work to get the results I want. I have to do it. No one else can do it for me. No one else can do it for any of us when it comes to our lives. It's our life. We have to take control. We have to design it. We don't need to live by default. And I talk about that all the time. You can design your life. That's what happened to me almost 10 years ago after my husband passed away. I figured out that I could design my life, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now with the crisis knowledge management certification if I hadn't started designing my life 9 years ago. So that's it for today. We'll talk about more of this book. Cheryl, I can't tell you how much I'm enjoying this, and I'm loving sharing it on to 70 Beyond. We'll talk about the next 5 chapters next week. Okay, happy Halloween, everybody. I hope you're all safe out there with all those ghosts and goblins going to be traveling around, and enjoy the holiday. I will be back next week with you for another to 70 and Beyond. Love you all, and hopefully with some real big announcements. Mwah! Bye now.